So I know it's pretty bearish, but Ash the Bear is kind of here today because I want to talk about the fact that this price action, what we're currently experiencing and have been experiencing for the last 3 to 4 weeks, feels like 2018. Let me explain, because if you were around in that bear market, it was pretty dull, it was pretty boring. And yes, I made a lot of mistakes, and I know a lot of people that did too, but it's all about planning and having the ability to kind of have orders planned just low enough that you may well collect a bit of the pie. Let me explain this in more detail. So on the screen here, we have the price action for majority of that year. 2018 was pretty rough, right? Mentioned it before in prior videos. Feel free to check them out if you go through my channel. I have talked about it a lot. And learning from that may well be a great sign for now. 4 years later, I feel personally, not financial advice, but it's just a feeling I've got, we're going into that sort of situation again where anything can happen, and it doesn't feel like a good thing's going to happen anytime soon. When we look at the entire market, the S&P, Nasdaq, earnings coming out very soon, inflation, interest rates, all that kind of stuff's going totally against us for the narrative of the bull market. It's interesting. Now, in a fairy tale kind of landscape, I would love to say Bitcoin's the answer to everything and cryptocurrency, Ethereum, whatever, and people buy the alternative. It doesn't seem to be happening, which is kind of a bit of a shame. We've got to go with the traditional markets, right? So, I know this is a bit bearish, but I want to say this. Expect the unexpected, because sometimes it will happen. I know a lot of people will say this, go against the trends, but it's bollocks, right? In my opinion, do not go against the trend on the higher time frames. There's a lot of people that are learning this market very, very quickly, and there's a lot of people that's been in this market will tell you the wrong thing. For example here, why would you go against a trend in a higher time frame expecting it to go up? That was me back in 2018, learning and understanding that this market is very much a different beast. You've got to go with the flow. Now, what we've got right now is a no trade zone, in my opinion, right? We are looking like that right now. That is in 2018. This is what the chart looks like pretty much today, realistically. Like, what happened in November was this. We dropped a huge amount. Now, I'm not saying we're going to drop 50%. Now, most people know my channel, and I was talking about a 12k Bitcoin long before it became popular in mainstream kind of echoings on YouTube. I got a lot of shit for it. Reason being, it was a Fibonacci number. It was relatively straightforward, and I just said, keep an eye out for 12k. Everyone laughed at me. But the reality is, what's happening right now is kind of scary, that we could be seeing a potential drop. How do you plan for this? How do you get better at being a better investor? Well, this is going back to the normal day. This is what it looks like. We have been in this range for a long time, very, very boring. Now, for the next 2 or 3 weeks into November, we could do the exact same thing. And we can also lose this level, which is currently, I wouldn't even want to say this, but I do not think this is a bottom. If we lose this, we're going to start seeing 14 and 12k, in my opinion. Why do I say that? Because when you go over to the weekly time frames and you just look at the overall kind of bias of the market, if you're going to go from the high to the low this entire swing, we've already lost this level here. We've already lost this level. 10k is pretty much here. Now, mentioned before, a 50% drop could be happening. Well, it's not too far-fetched if that's 44% down. Not saying it's going to go to 10k, but just to give you an idea of structure. If you want it to be a little bit safer, just look left. Confluences of this wick at 13k. You've got this level here at 12k. They're all there, right? Confluence points are key. Now, when I say plan your orders on your altcoins to remove emotion, do this. Plan your orders. Put the orders in as limit orders and just relax. It's easier to plan your capital, to distribute your risk, and let it do its thing. People panic in real time. If you wake up half asleep on your phone, oh my God, we've dropped whatever percentage, you'll shit yourself. But you'll also go, I want to buy it a little bit lower. I want to buy it a little bit lower. I want it to go a little bit lower. Greed. Just plan it. I've been buying over the last few weeks, little bits here and there. My orders have activated. You know this. I've put this on Patreon in my journal. You mostly know where my orders are. Transparency is key, right? So, why do I think we're going in the same direction? Well, looking on the block, the volume is down on a lot of things. I feel the interest is dying off, personally. People are bored, people are boring, and when the market makers want to create a bit of a ruffle, they will do it. So you can see here how, the market has changed massively, in my opinion. Look at NFTs, for example. Look at the likes of the Uniswap volume. Web3 is still relatively high. Web3 doesn't, in my opinion, doesn't correlate to the price. It correlates to network effect. Good for the long term, though, in my opinion. OpenSea, you can see the differences. But what I want to show you is also social media traffic. Influencers dying off, or blocking me, essentially. But the reality is, when things do die off, the interest is gone. The shilling will stop. The paid advertisement stop. I have already seen a massive change in my inbox on influencer marketing. It's totally changed. If you're in my Patreon, you'll know that I have a shill list where I copy and screenshot what offers have been put into me. I've not done that for like 2 or 3 weeks now because there's been nothing happening. But you can see here, look at the weekly followers for social media dropping off like a rocket, really. You can see the fact of new subscribers to influencer accounts. Sadly, I'm not on here because I'm only small, but you get the picture. And I can tell you very, very quickly, if I look at my metrics on my YouTube channel in terms of revenue I've made or subscribers, views, it pretty much follows the bull market narrative, which is scary, right? So what happens next is interesting. Where do we go? The absorption of said monies. And currently, when I'm literally talking right now, Bitcoin has gone even lower as I'm talking right now. Now, what I will say is we're at a dangerous point with altcoins. Altcoins are currently looking very, very weak, in my opinion. The BTC dominance, for example, starting to go back up to test this line. Absorption, I'm going to say it again. Token emissions, VCs, capital getting released, stuff like that is going to have a big effect on the altcoin market. The volume's low, the interest is low, the information that's coming out from these altcoins are low. There's no real excitement or hype apart from a few odd coins. If the VCs are going to start selling on the next token unlocks, no one's going to absorb that hit. Altcoins are going to drop. So I'm just going to put it out there. The fear may well start to get bigger and louder, certainly as you're watching, the time go on, especially in a range. Currently, right now, Bitcoin's falling out of this range as I'm literally recording this. So let's have a little look. Because for me, when we're seeing this retest these lows, it gives you opportunity to see where we could go next. Obviously, some people will buy the bounce. But when or if we lose this range, Bitcoin is going to fall a lot lower and it's going to upset a lot of people, in my opinion. So for me, it does remind me very much clearly of that time period in 2018. However, the altcoins is what I'd be worried about more than anything. Certainly, yes, if Bitcoin goes down to 12k, it's going to be a worry. But the altcoins with massive VC capital that's going to get distributed at some point on quite a lot of these assets, essentially, or newer assets, there's no big volume to kind of take that hit. So be very, very careful. There we go. If you enjoyed this video, obviously, like normal, leave a like. I know most people do. But most importantly, check out the links below. If you want some help, there's plenty of help.